And so he took such a high dose that he had to intentionally add in Metamucil, other fiber, in order to not get blocked up. Before and after. How many of you, raise your hand, think that he just lost 25 pounds of fat? Coach Greg, in today's video, we're going to learn how to not screw up our bodies. The magic pill, or injection, if you will, known as GLPs, including Reta, have taken the world by storm. Case in point, we've got Brian Scuderi, who essentially is skinny fat, and he lost 25 pounds in 16 weeks using Reta. Well, bravo, it worked. But what exactly did he lose? Now, he claims he lost all 25 pounds from fat. All right, Exhibit A, before and after. How many of you, raise your hand, think that he just lost 25 pounds of fat? Look at the comparison. Does it look closer to 5 pounds of fat or 25 pounds?
And I'll tell you, I lost 25 pounds in the last 16 weeks.
25 pounds of fat. 25 pounds. I can barely see any difference. If you had put a decimal between the 2 and a 5 and said I lost 2.5 pounds in 16 days, I would have said 100% believe it. This looks like a 16-day transformation. I'm sorry. And so he did this with the benefit of Reta. If he actually lost 25 pounds, which I highly doubt, how many of you think it was all fat? How many of you think he lost a significant amount of muscle? Certainly he got weaker during this transformation, and what he doesn't explain during this video about Reta is that he was also on, get this, 16 other peptides all at the same time.
Frankly, I love how much stronger I'm getting in the gym, even though my calories aren't constantly increasing week over week. The muscle growth on this has been great. The strength growth on this has been great. And it was an amazing pair with the last 4 weeks on Retatrutide because I lost all fat. I lost zero muscle. In fact, I actually got stronger, and recovery from workout to workout has been absolutely nothing but excellence.
How many of you believe that he lost all fat? Zero muscle was lost and that he got stronger. I mean, you're seeing the photo, the before and after transformation. He put this together himself. I'm not making this shit up. How many of you think he lost 25 pounds of muscle? When you lose 25 pounds of muscle, your body fat is going to have to go down by at least 10%. Does he look 10% leaner in the after in comparison to the before? I don't see it.
And it's definitely something that you have to be doing under supervision. And frankly, all peptides should be taken with some sort of supervision from someone who actually knows what they're doing. This is why I've studied it.
It writes itself. I mean, why do you think I'm making this video? And so he says, caution. Peptides need to be taken under the supervision of someone who knows what they're doing. And I'm thinking, great. He's going to plug in a doctor. Perhaps he's going to say, go to AlgoRx. AlgoRx, who has qualified doctors who prescribe you legal medications. It's not from some scam website. I mean, after all, do you all know that Retatrutide, it's not even FDA approved. And so any of you using this, you're a guinea pig, a guinea rat, whatever the word is for it. And so you're experimenting on your own body. And so if you don't want to break the law and you want to know 100% for certain that what you're getting is real, pharmaceutical, click the link in description, code Greg, 10% off. Or you can write code orange and he can be your coach.
I've actually been taking peptides now for the last 3 years, testing different cycles, making sure I understand different dosages before even talking about it on my Instagram.
Oh, and so he's an expert because he's been reading about it and he's tried it on himself. And so there you have it. He's an expert. I mean, what's next? You going to say he has a PhD from the same university as Mr. Mike?
Because I don't like to promote something that I don't fully understand and fully aware, but I'm a bit of a psychopath.
I'm not going to disagree with him. He says he's a psychopath, that he's a little crazy. He likes testing things out on his own body. So is Mr. Mike.
And so I like to test things on my body because I'm crazy, a little silly. So before you just start diving into this stuff, if you want my cheat sheet and my titration guide for these 5 peptides, just go ahead and comment orange underneath. They're just sitting right there. Oranges underneath, and I'll go ahead and give you the cheat sheet.
All right. Just can't make this shit up. And so let's now learn about Reta.
I just finished up my last injection of Retatrutide, and I'm going to go through everything that I experienced over the course of the last 16 weeks. So what most people don't know about Retatrutide is that you have to titrate up, right?
Everybody already knows that about Retta. I mean, why are we putting words in other people's mouth? What nobody knows is that you need to titrate up with Retta. You start in a lower dose, and gradually over the course of weeks and or months, you increase the doses once your body gets used to it. If you don't already know that, you have zero business of using a GLP-1. I mean, you're going to literally start using drugs that can completely change your body without doing the bare minimum of research. To understand that you start off in the lowest dose that makes you happy, and if that dose is not enough, or the course of weeks and or months, you gradually titrate the dose up. If you don't already know that, stay away.
It's not something that you just start off at 4 milligrams a week and just blast your system.
I mean, unless perhaps you're clavicular. Did you know that clavicular is currently taking 15 milligrams of Retta each and every week? You know, the same guy that's using math to decrease his appetite, to get more hollow cheeks, that is sniffing creatine before going to the gym. That man, 15 milligrams of Retta. Oh, and each bottle has about 5 milligrams. And so if you're on 5 milligrams a week, you're using the entire bottle. And so my suggestion, don't use Retta until it's legal. Wow, what a horrible recommendation. Coach Greg is recommending we don't, in fact, break the law, that we buy from pharmaceutical manufacturers.
Half a milligram, didn't really notice anything. Or the next week, I did 1 milligram and I started to notice a little bit of the appetite suppression.
And so I started off with 0.5 milligrams. Smart move. This one thing that he did that was correct. Said he didn't really notice it the first week, and so at the end of the week, he decided to double the dose. Now, how many of you out there have done mushrooms? You know, had your regular garden vegetable mushrooms. You took the mushrooms and you didn't notice anything, and after 30 minutes, you decided to double up. Perhaps you did the same thing with some edibles, didn't notice anything 45 minutes later, decided to double up. What then happens? I'll tell you what. Each dose adds on to itself, and all of a sudden, you've done double the dose that you expected. Perhaps it was a great experience, perhaps it was not, but I'm telling you, it's dangerous and you shouldn't do it. And so after 1 week, not 2, not 3, he decides to increase the doses. This is something that you never do. To the same extent, if the doctor puts you on 100 milligrams of HRT a week, are you going to, after the first week, double the dose? No, it's been a week. I don't really notice my biceps getting any stronger. I'm doubling the dose up. I'm going to take 200 milligrams. Who would do that? It's only been a week. And so please, please wait. I'm suggesting 3 weeks, but anything longer than a week, well, it's better than only doing it after a week. If it's 2 weeks, it's 2. If it's 3, if it's 4, at least wait and see what happens. Now remember, in combination with Retta and or Tirzepatide or Ozempic, you should be trying to exercise and you should be trying to eat healthy. The lowest dose of these medications that do in fact have side effects, the better. And so if you get my cookbook, if you exercise, if you do the right things, I'm certain you'll need less of these prescription medications, and that will make you healthier. And so please try to do it at least a little bit on your own.
I also needed to go into a deeper deficit because I needed to lose more weight. And by the time I got up to 2 milligrams, I was probably already down about 10 or 12 pounds.
And so a month in, remember the first week was at 0.5. The next 3 weeks he was at 1. Remember, it takes several half-lives for the doses to peak. And so that 1 milligram dose for 3 weeks, it's not even at its peak. And did he describe that it was effective? Well, what were his words? Basically, it sounds magical. It was easy. Easy to follow his macros. The food noise was essentially gone. Cravings were gone. And so it was extremely effective. How effective? After a month, he had lost between 10 and 12 pounds. Let's call it 11. And so in 4 weeks, he had averaged over 2.5 pounds per week. And remember, the first week, he didn't even notice anything. And so technically, in 3 weeks, he'd lost over 10 pounds. It's over 3 pounds a week. How many people, raise your hand out there if you're watching this? And remember, he's not fat. Bro wasn't even fat to begin with. How many of you people think that losing 3 pounds or more per week isn't enough? That because it's only a measly 3 pounds per week, that you need to increase the doses? How many of you think that? Now, in case you don't know, to lose 1 pound of fat, you need to be in a 3,500 calorie deficit. And so to lose 3 pounds in a week, you need approximately a 10,000 calorie deficit. It's about 1,500 calories per day. And so on average, he was at least 1,500 calories in the hole. What do you think is going to happen to his muscle when he's under eating, being underfed by over 1,500 calories per day? Yeah, he's going to lose muscle. Clearly. And remember, he was on 16 other peptides, including IGF, ipramorelin, GHRP, the list goes on and on. Why would he need a 1,500 calorie deficit? I mean, if you're adding things that help you to build muscle, you most likely could get leaner while eating at maintenance. Think of it. If you're building muscle and losing fat at the same time, do you really need a 1,500 calorie deficit and or more in order to lose body fat? What happened to main gaining? Now, I understand he wanted to drop his body fat. He's trying to get to 10 to 12% body fat, and so that's fine. But losing more than 1% of your body weight, and assuming he's about 200 pounds, that's 2 pounds per week. And so if he's losing more than about 8 pounds per month, it's too much. And so what happens? You lose energy as well as muscle.
Once I got up into 2, that was a super comfortable place. Honestly, going forward, I'm just going to cruise at 2 milligrams. Like that's just going to be it. But I eventually dabbled into 3.
And so eventually he says, 2 milligrams was the place to be. I felt good at that dose, but I dabbled in at 3. Why? I mean, you're playing Russian roulette with your health. Why would you risk it? You've already lost the weight. The food noise is gone, but yet I'm still going up in the doses. And so what I'm saying about almost anything, for example, I said peanut butter is not healthy for you. If you're lean, healthy, active, perhaps you can eat peanut butter. But if peanut butter is contributing to being fat, you should eat it. Same applies to testosterone. Same applies to peptides. If you can't control yourself around Reta, if as soon as you get it, you want to double the dose and double the dose again and keep increasing it, it's not for you. It's not safe. It's dangerous. It's not even FDA approved. And so please be cautious. Now, on the other end, if it's doctor prescribed and a doctor's monitoring you and you're using Ozempic and or tirzepatide, which is legal, and you're using it at the lowest dose that makes you happy with doctor supervision, and it's helping you to lose weight and you need to lose the weight, then by all means, I'm not against GLP-1s, but when you're a skinny, fat dad who has no experience with it, doesn't know what he's doing aside from reading something on the internet, does he look like a guy that needs to be on Reta? And even if you say yes, do you believe that those doses were appropriate? You heard it. He lost 10 to 12 pounds in the first month on 1 milligram and he doubled the dose. Makes no sense.
After about a month at 1 milligram, I scaled up to 2, and I noticed that it was just even more controllable, but appetite suppression started to get a little aggressive.
And did you hear that? At 2 milligrams, the appetite suppression was a little aggressive. In case you don't understand what that means, it means that his appetite was so low that it was hard to eat. Do you really think that you want to take such a high dose that eating becomes a chore, that it becomes an annoyance, a nightmare, if you will? That you now dislike the pleasure of eating. There are only a certain few pleasures in this world. Playing sports, playing with your kids, and eating, for most people, not all, is certainly one of them. Why would we want to completely ruin the enjoyment of eating? That's what happens when you abuse these drugs.
I eventually dabbled into 3, and 1 week I went up to 4.5.
He then jumps it up to 4.5. Why? What purpose would that serve?
When my wife makes muffins or we have, ice cream in the house or anything along those lines, I don't even feel that attracted to it. One thing I will say that nobody talks about on this app is the fact that if you are not hydrated and you are not intentionally consuming fiber, you're going to get blocked up.
And so he took such a high dose that he had to intentionally add in Metamucil, other fiber, in order to not get blocked up. I mean, do you all understand that what he did was take his will to eat away from himself? That for some reason, biologically, we're told to eat for a reason. He took that will away. He didn't reduce it by a little bit. He essentially crushed it. Wife's making muffins. He used to love them. No more. I don't want that. Now remember, when you use these drugs, it removes some of the dopamine, some of the joy that you would experience while eating and tasting those foods. And not only that, it can take the pleasure away from, for example, shopping, smoking, which for some people, well, that's not so bad. You have less cravings for cigarettes, shopping, and so on. But also sexy time. These are very powerful drugs and you need to give them their proper respect.
Add some Metamucil in there for you to get at least 20 grams of fiber in per day.
Here's the problem that I have with all this. Another problem. If he has to say, as a cautionary tale, you gotta get your 20 grams of fiber. Do you know why Reta actually works, or Ozempic and or Tirzepatide? One of the main reasons is it slows gastric emptying. What exactly is that? How long it takes for food to go through your stomach and your systems and so on. And so when you eat something, it's going to sit there longer. You're not going to be able to get the calories from it as quickly. And so your appetite isn't as strong. Do you know what fiber does? The exact same thing. And so if you were to add more fruits and vegetables to your diet, which are 100% natural and have antioxidants and are actually healthy for you, you would experience some of the same things as you do at Reta. Wow. So you're telling me that if I were to eat a healthy diet, it would give me a similar experience to taking Reta? Yup. Oh, well, I don't want to do that. I want the magic pill. Why do you think this book is such a great seller? The recipes are absolutely out of this world delicious. They're massive portions for the big eater, and it keeps you full. For example, peanut butter. 4 times less calories in my peanut butter than in, for example, Jiffy. And not only that, 4 times more protein. And so what does that mean? It means you can eat a massive bowl of it and still lose weight because it's very low in calories, filling, and has protein to help you build muscle, all in the friggin' cookbook. Code Greg, 15% off. If you eat a balanced diet to begin with, like this guy should have been doing, remember, he admits it, he's not even getting in 20 grams of fiber. He's having to consume Metamucil. If he had a healthy diet, for example, if he was being coached by Coach Greg, if he had my cookbook, he wouldn't even need the Reta. Wow. He would be saving hundreds and hundreds of dollars each and every month. But why would he do that? Why would he just eat healthy? Because I'd rather just take a pill. Listen, just because you're skinny doesn't mean you're healthy. If your diet sucks, you're not getting in enough protein, you're not eating fruits and vegetables, what do you expect? Just because you're skinny doesn't mean that you're healthy. Now, certainly, being skinny is better than being fat, but why can't we at least eat healthy first? And if that doesn't work, then we can add these medications. That is what they are for people that they just can't do it on their own. And even if you're prescribed these medications, for example, Ozempic and Tirzepatide, you should still be following a healthy diet. You shouldn't just rely on the medication to reduce your appetite. You should ensure that you're eating fruits, vegetables, and lots of protein, lean proteins. And on top of that, absolutely, you should be going to the gym and training your entire body 2 times a week, trying to preserve and or in fact build muscle, improve your metabolism. And don't forget about cardio minimum. 150 minutes of zone 2 cardio a week. What's zone 2 cardio? If you don't want to get injectable Tirzepatide and so on, we have oral over-the-counter GLP Max. You can get this on my website. It takes your hunger from about an 8 out of 10 to a 6. And for most people, that in fact should be enough. And combined with GO2 Max for enhanced cardio, as well as G-Test Platinum, well, you can't go wrong. Remember, money back guarantee. And so what do you have to lose? Code Greg, 15% off. Click the link in description. And so let me know, what do you think about this? I want to know your opinion. Have you used Reta? What dosage do you think you should be on? Subscribe, click the bell button, comment to boost the algorithm. Please like this video if you liked it. Don't forget to watch one of those 2 bloops. I'm personally looking for more sponsored athletes as well as ambassadors. And so if you want to promote HDLT supplements harder than last time, click the link in the description, as well as if you own a supplement store and or a gym and you want to start selling the supplements, of course, click the link in the description. Interested in coaching myself and my team, click the link. And until next time, I am out.